guys, it's Amber. So today I wanted to do a my rump story tag video. I'm trying to actually do this without actually watching anyone else's first. So I have my laptop down here and I'm going to be reading the questions off of it. But I saw the tag and I started watching someone else's, but I decided to just pause the video and do it myself before I started watching everyone else's videos because I thought this was a fun idea, but I wanted to just see what my kind of gut instinct was on a lot of these answers. So again, my laptop's down here, so I'll be looking down a lot, so forgive me. All right, so how did you discover rumps? I cloth diaper my daughter, so I had seen just through internet searches and shopping for cloth diapers some information on cloth pads, and I am going to admit that I thought it sounded pretty gross. I really wasn't all that interested in the idea. I just thought that cloth diapering would be a good way to help the environment on one side, but the bigger factor was saving money on diapers. My daughter is my second child, and I could just remember how amazingly expensive diapers were. And then I had my daughter, started cloth diapering her, and realized that the whole aspect of cleaning a reusable product like a diaper was basically not that big of a deal at all. Getting into it, I was really nervous about it. So when cleaning the diapers wasn't that big of a deal, I thought, okay, let me give this whole cloth pad thing a shot. Whether or not it would work, I didn't know. But then Jamie at the cloth pad shop called Beach Bottom, I'll link them below, she sent me 3 pads to review for my blog, which I will also link below. And that kind of jump-started the whole thing. But yeah, so heard about rumps through the internet. Like I think probably the majority of us heard about it through the internet. When did you start using them? I have been using them since I had my daughter. Not all that long. My daughter's only 5 months, and I obviously didn't have a cycle right away. So I'm still fairly new to the idea, but I have totally immersed myself. It's kind of crazy how quickly I became a pad addict. Like, it's almost ridiculous. What made you decide to switch? I've seen a lot of videos about women who have had skin problems, or maybe they knew somebody who had TSS or whatever. For me, during my pregnancy, I was having lots of skin irritation. I was having to wear a liner on a daily basis during my pregnancy for reasons I won't go into, but I had to wear one. And I was noticing a lot of like itching, not associated with really anything. My doctor just gave me some yeast infection cream stuff and told me to use it until it went away, and it never really went away. And you believe it or not, my OB actually never even did a vaginal exam relating to this itching issue, which looking back, I can't believe I was okay with that. But then when I had my daughter, I had the whole postpartum thing, and then I stopped needing to wear a liner like about 2 weeks maybe after she was born, and the itching suddenly stopped. And then when I had my first cycle following the birth of my daughter, I started that cycle with disposables and then ended the cycle on cloth. And the first half of my cycle, I was itching like just so badly that it was so uncomfortable. And then when I switched to the cloth sample pads that I had to review from Beach Bottom, I suddenly wasn't itching anymore. So anyways, that's what made me decide to switch. What was your disposable of choice before? Whatever was on sale. I was not connected in any particular way to any sort of cloth pad or disposable pad. I would use Kotex if it were on sale. I would use Always if they were on sale. whatever was on sale. They just needed to be ultra thin, ultra absorbency, and ultra long. How old were you when you first got your period? I traumatically started my period at 9 years old on Easter Sunday. I will never forget that day. It was horrifically frightening to me because I was so young that my mom hadn't had the talk with me, and I have had a bad relationship with my period ever since. How have your views of menstrual products in general changed since switching? My views on menstrual products have changed dramatically. I was never much of a tampon wearer, so I just pretty much stuck with disposable pads. And I hated my period. I hated it. And now that I'm now that I have cloth pads, and now that I even make cloth pads, I honestly feel so much more connected to my body, and the experience of having my cycle is fun. I mean, cramps and stuff don't feel all that nice, but I mean, the whole idea of it isn't gross to me anymore. It's fun. I get to see, okay, which pads am I going to wear today? And that might seem silly or immature, but when you have lived decades hating your period and being miserable and uncomfortable and itchy and just hating the idea of having a period, and then within just a few weeks being excited to get your period, it makes me mad that cloth pads aren't mainstream. It makes me upset that so many women around this entire world will never give cloth pads a shot because they think blood is gross. So I don't know, it's been a good thing and a bad thing, because now I feel so passionate about this whole idea, but at the same time, you know, it does kind of make me angry, you know? Like, why did it take me so long? Somebody who, you know, I consider myself to be an eco-friendly person. I use natural makeup products. I use natural hair care products. I cloth diaper my daughter. Why did it take me so long to find the information I needed to switch? Why did it take getting free pads to switch? You know, it just, anyways. Has it connected you to other women on a new level? Yes. Yes, it has. I am on so many groups now on Facebook, and I feel like there are some makers that I've gotten to know on an almost personal level because of this, that, you know, I feel like sometimes because I'm a working mom and I am so aggressive in my career, that I have sort of had to turn off the female side of me to be this businesswoman, and I work in a very high stress job, and I don't really have an opportunity a lot to talk about these types of things. And now there are so many women who I've never met in person before, but that I look up to, and that I've had so many really deep and very meaningful conversations with over the past few months, that, you know, I almost feel like cloth pads has opened up just this whole new circle of friends to me, which, for somebody who doesn't really, you know, value that sort of one-on-one conversation thing a whole lot, just because I'm introverted and I work a lot and I spend more time with my kids and my husband than I do anyone else, to have these sort of conversations just about the idea of being a woman, it does mean a lot. So, has it led to other interests for you? Yes, it has led to an interest in sewing. The first thing I ever put together in a sewing machine was a cloth pad. I watched the Amy Nix YouTube sewing tutorials, where she specifically teaches people via very, you know, cleverly put together sewing videos. She teaches you specifically how to make cloth pads. And so I actually, for the first probably 5, maybe even 10 pads I made, I sat there and I sewed along to her videos, almost like she was sitting at my table sewing with me. And now I probably sew every other day, maybe sometimes every day. I love it. It's so fun. And I've started sewing bibs for my daughter. I'm trying to learn how to make cloth diapers now, which will be huge, but they're super hard to make. So yeah, sewing is the big thing for me. Have you learned new things about yourself since switching? And if so, what are they? You know, I don't know if I've necessarily learned more about myself so much as I've learned about my body. I'm a lot more in tune to my hormones, and I know what's happening to my body as a result of my menstrual cycle. And that, I think, is kind of a priceless thing to know your body and to know what's happening to your body when you wake up and you're still super exhausted, or when you start, you know, getting pimples or spots on your face and you know, oh, it's because I'm ovulating. You know, it helps because sometimes I would wake up and I'd just be like, why am I so exhausted? I can't afford to be exhausted today. And just to know, okay, so it's that time in my cycle. That does mean a lot. It does help my sanity a bit. So I don't know if that's a good answer to that question, but that's the answer I have. Okay, so this probably is neither here nor there, but I decided to turn a light on for the very last question. All right, so do you speak to people in real life about RUMPs? And if so, how have they responded? The first time that I actually saw RUMPs at all was at work. And I was doing an internet search about cloth diapers while I was pregnant, and I saw this listing, I think, on Etsy about cloth pads, and I was so grossed out that my immediate reaction was to call over my coworkers and show them the listing. And we all just, we were so grossed out by it. And then when I came to my new location, I'm with the same company, but I switched campuses. I work for a college. I had a conversation with a coworker, not about cloth pads themselves, but about why I switched and how my life has changed because I switched. And she was intrigued by the idea of why I switched as opposed to what the cloth pads are. And I think that maybe that is an easier way to approach a conversation about RUMPs, because sometimes when you think about a cloth pad from the perspective of someone who's never used one, this whole idea of washing a menstrual product can really skeeve people out. They can get grossed out and they can think it's nasty and funky and ew. You know, like why would I want to do that? So I talk to people now. Now I've probably spoken to a handful, maybe 5 or 6 people, including my sisters and my mom. I just talk to them about what has changed for me since I started using cloth, and that seems to get a much better reception than talking to people about the pads themselves. Because I think that once you start talking about the mechanics of what you have to do to clean a cloth pad, that's where you lose people. So I have started conversations. I do talk to people. I don't, you know, wear sandwich boards and scream it to the high heavens every single time that I'm outside of the house. But if it comes up in natural conversation, then yeah. If it's with somebody that I trust, yeah. I mean, there are definitely people in my life that I would not share this with just because I know that they wouldn't be receptive to it, but I'm not afraid to talk about it. I think it's a good thing to let people know that this is an option out there, because I think that one of the main reasons why it's still so niche, I guess, and why so few people use cloth is just that a whole lot of people don't even realize why those of us who use cloth do it. And then, you know, there's probably a great part of the population that doesn't even realize that it's an option. So yeah, I do talk about it. So I think that is it. So that's my rump story. So I hope you had fun watching this, and now I guess I'm going to get online and I am going to watch everyone else's. So, thanks, subscribe. I'd love to, you know, keep making these videos for you guys, and I will see you later. Bye.